We are back on this 1973 Volkswagen Beetle that caught on fire. I've slowly been rebuilding it and it is proving to be a little bit harder than I expected. In the previous episodes, I worked on the front trunk area. This car has a brand new wiring harness. Every single wire in this car has been replaced. Got all the paint removed underneath the hood, repainted it with bed liner, all new wiring, new gas tank, new air ride system. Up underneath this hood is pretty much finished. In the back section, I took apart this old engine, repainted everything behind it because it was all burnt and rusted. Repainted that to make it look a little bit prettier. Worked on the motor, hoping it would just start after I replaced all the burnt parts. Turns out it didn't. That motor is locked up and the top end needs to be rebuilt for it to be hopefully working. I thought I would try to save some money, so I bought a used motor off Facebook Marketplace that was supposed to be running and driving ready. Turns out it wasn't. It has low compression and also needs a top end rebuild. So in the meantime, while I was ordering parts for the motor, I started work on the interior. I got these seats out of a 2015 Fiat 500. They look great in here, match the wheels perfectly, and they are way more comfortable than the original seats. I think they look great and they fit in this car very well. That was a quick summary of where we're at on this vehicle right now. The goal of this episode is to get it running and driving and moving under its own power. Everything in the car is ready and set up for it to be able to do that. We just need a running motor. And that is where we're beginning on this episode. I'm gonna start work on this original motor that I pulled out of this car, the burnt one, we're gonna call it. I did some work to it to prep it and get it ready to start putting back together. I degreased the whole thing, scrubbed it all down, and then I put a fresh coat of paint over the whole thing. It looks really good. It looks a lot better than it used to. There's a lot of scorch marks and everything on it, but the block itself is in good shape. It all spins right now. Everything internally looks good. We just need the new pistons, the new cylinder heads, and all that stuff that goes along with it put back together, and then this thing should run. Hopefully. I mentioned it a little bit in the last episode, but this is gonna be a first for me. I never rebuilt a motor before. I'm not even rebuilding the whole thing. It's really just putting the top end together. I've watched quite a few YouTube videos and it doesn't seem that difficult. After we get all these new parts put back on, we're gonna have to take out this other motor and take off all the good parts off of that and put it back on this. I also bought a new starter that I'm gonna install in this engine stand. That way we can get it running right out of the car. That way we don't have any issues when we put it in the car. This paint is almost dry, and once it's fully cured, then we'll start putting it together. Fingers crossed, this is gonna be easy. Should be, hopefully. Please. Get that mounted. Need a fuel pump, probably mounted under here somewhere. Everything is laid out and ready to go, ready to be installed. I gotta put some gasket maker around these pistons. After that, just install them on. Should be that simple. Put the snap ring in and it should be good. There's an arrow on the piston that has to be pointing to the back of the motor, to the crankshaft. Don't forget to put the heat shield on. Should go just like this. Now to put these push tube rods on here along with some gasket maker. I was told to use this stuff, so we'll see. Put all four on here and it should just slide on. Should. there's a tightening pattern, then a torque pattern. First, you just tighten it down with this pattern, and then you torque it after that. Now 18 foot-pounds in a specific order. I'll throw it up on the screen. All done. Now put the rocker back in. Looks so pretty. Both sides are done. While I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the valves. I watched a YouTube video on how to do that. Don't ask me to go into too much detail about it. I'm just gonna link the video I used in my description. Go off of that. Bottom dead center. Do it again. Of course. That's all taken apart. Nothing left. Now to put this one back together. I noticed a little bit of leaking down here, so I'll go ahead and swap this out now. Motor is completely back together, and I'm really glad I painted this block. It just looks so much better like that. Got all this put back together, ready to go, and even did some work on the stand. Last episode I made this mounting system, that way we could start it on the stand. It's gonna be a lot easier to fine tune it and get it running right before we put it back in the car. Things you need to make it start in the stand is a starter, some gas, a fuel pump since my motor runs off an electric fuel pump, and also a couple switches and a start button and a battery. Power going directly to the starter, also to the switch. Flip up this switch to turn it on. That gives power to the fuel pump, also gives power to the starter coil, and then the coil powers the distributor and carburetor. All that's hooked up, wired up, ready to go, and then an engine start button to actually start it. Got all this working right, it should be able to start on the stand now. Now I don't have the alternator hooked up because it's not lining up properly with the crankshaft. I think it's an issue with this aftermarket alternator, so I went ahead and bought a new one that comes in tomorrow, but we still should be able to start this thing. Sounds pretty good, but it definitely is misfiring. And that's because one of these spark plug wires is messed up. I tried to replace it with this one, but it's also not working right. I need to order new spark plug wires and that should fix the issue. Maybe need to adjust the timing a little bit, but it starts, it runs. And it wasn't too difficult. I am dripping a little bit of oil though on this side of the motor. So I guess I didn't put enough gasket maker on this side. I have to take that apart and redo it again. It's unfortunate, but I know how to do it now and I can do it pretty fast, I think. Just this side is leaking, this other side is fine. All right, I think I figured out the leak. What I did originally is I tore it back down, all the way back down to the studs pretty much. Took off the cylinder heads, put new gasket maker all the way around it, made sure I had every inch covered up. That took right around an hour to complete. Put it all back together, get it ready to go again. Then I waited about 18 hours to restart it back up. Started it and noticed it was still leaking the same amount. That had me pretty frustrated because I didn't want to take this thing back down again because I know I was doing it right. So I went looking and trying to figure out exactly where it was leaking from, and I noticed it was leaking from the top of the motor. And the only thing up there is the oil cooler, which I replaced. So I was worried that the new one was leaking. So I went and dug around, took it back apart, and found exactly where it was leaking from, and it was from where it mounts to the block. I took that apart, replaced those gaskets, and put it back together, and now it is not leaking anymore. No leaks, no nothing, it's all good. If you're wondering why I'm wearing glasses, these are the new Meta glasses. Hoping to give you guys a new POV and a little bit of different footage. Now that this is ready to go, it's ready to go back into the car. There's a few things I have to do before I can put it back in there. I noticed that the throttle cable is in kind of rough shape. It's starting to fray. I went ahead and bought a new one of those, replacing that. And then I noticed that the clutch cable is also in bad shape. It's actually even worse shape. So I ordered a new one of those and need to get those swapped in before we can put this back in the car. Luckily I did that in my spare time. Got a new throttle cable and a new clutch cable all set up and ready to go. Need to make sure it has brakes too. You have no idea how good this feels. This runs and drives great. It's one of the better riding old cars I've ever been in, especially a Volkswagen, and I've owned quite a few of them back in my day, and this thing runs really good. I don't know why I was so scared to actually rebuild a motor. It really wasn't that difficult. I think what it is when people start throwing numbers and different things I don't know about in a YouTube video, I feel like I should know it and that kind of deters me, and it makes it seem a lot harder than it actually is. But I'm not building a race car, I'm not doing any kind of boring or different cylinder head sizes or anything like that. It's just going back to stock, and that makes it a lot easier. I also didn't tear into the main block and start rebuilding like the lower end of the motor. I don't know what that entails. It's probably a little bit more difficult than what I did, but for this, wasn't that hard at all. So I just want to give a thank you to the YouTube videos I watched. I'm going to link them in my description. So if you guys have to rebuild a motor, I would start with them, watch their videos. They go into pretty good detail about it. Well, now that it's running and driving and stopping, brakes work great, I can start piecing this thing back together and make it a drivable vehicle. I'm sure people are wondering if I'm going to be repainting this thing. Maybe in the future, but for right now, I kind of like it the way it is. It tells a good story about what this car has been through. I think it's cool to keep it like this for a little bit, but there is some stuff I need to do to it to make it watertight, and that is some rust holes. We start going up close to it, we can see a lot of rust holes that we need to fix and fill in. Not a whole lot, but we need to get those fixed before we can put the windows back in. Another thing we need to deal with is getting this back area all put back together. I have new taillights for it, along with a rear apron, and I also have a deck lid that doesn't match this car, but I'm hoping to make it match. This here is a deck lid that is from a pre-67. I'm not sure exactly the year. I bought this thing like 10 years ago. It's in decent shape, has a little bit of rust, a few little rust holes down at the bottom. But if you look for a used one of these, it's kind of hard to find one in good shape. I got some paint remover. I'm not sure if it's gonna take a lot of this off, but we can test it out and see, and then maybe give it a little bit of rust to add to the rest of the car. A couple other little things to make it street legal. We need to make sure all the lights are working, turn signals, horn, everything like that. It's a few more little things before I can actually daily drive it or drive it on the street. I guess I was supposed to sand it first. Read the instructions. Now we wait a year for the rust, or I have some spray that might rust it faster. It's my secret solution. Most of the holes are welded up, looks really good now, except for this part. Starting in 1973, they added a vent right here to help cool the engine. A previous owner did cover this, but didn't do that great of a job. Luckily, I have new metal that will cover that, so I'm gonna cut this out and go ahead and replace that, make it look a little bit better. If we look at the driver's side, you can see how much Bondo is actually covering a lot of this. I just think this will look better and definitely hold up better over time. That way I'm not adding a bunch of Bondo back over it. Might as well do it now. I need to correct myself. This does not cool the motor. This actually blows air to the back window or to the back seat, I guess. I don't know. Either way, we don't need it. Not perfect, but it looks pretty good. A lot better than it did. A little bit more grinding to do in here, but the rest of it, mostly done. I need to figure out a way to blend it to make it look like it's supposed to. This is about 18 hours later. Looks like it's been sitting outside for years. Obviously, this is gonna cause a bit of damage that we're gonna have to repair eventually, but this was the desired effect I was going for and to match the rest of the burnt car. So just keep that in mind. Got the rest of it matching too, and once it sits outside for a little bit, it'll look better, I think. Next thing we need to tackle is this dash. As you can see, it is in a little bit of rough shape. It's been cut, had holes drilled into it all its lifetime. So I got those filled in the previous episode, got it all cleaned up and looking nice, but it does need primed and painted. And I think I want to paint it back to this original blue color. And I might even just end up painting this whole interior, make it look a little bit better because it looks kind of rough in here right now. taped up, ready to go. Hopefully it's an easy spray job. Perfect, but it'll do. I'll have to buy a different adapter because I can't get the horn button on there. I talked about it in a previous episode, but these windshield wipers are not working. When I turn the wipers on, it just makes a buzzing sound. So I think the motor is bad. I did buy another one. This one is for a different year, but I think it still should fit up there pretty nicely. And hopefully it works. Hopefully it works. All right, I think it's time to put the glass in. I have every piece I think I need. There is one issue though, and that is these quarter panels. I bought pop-out windows, which are a lot nicer than the regular windows. I bought them as a pair and I didn't check them. They are both for the left side. It's a bit of an issue, but you can swap these over. So I have to take this thing apart, swap the mechanics over to the other side, and I think I could be able to make them work. I have new gaskets for every single window, windshield, back window. Once I get these rebuilt and looking a little bit better, we can put them in the car, or on the car. This is a pain. Don't ever do this. This is the worst thing ever. Almost done. Never again. Actually, still have one more. I have a new used rear bumper for the back of the car. This is more of the period that I'm going for and what the car kind of matches. The front bumper is also similar to this, and the original rear bumper that was on it is for the correct year of the car. This is like a 73 bumper, but that's the only thing on the car that's like a 73, so we're gonna switch it to this one. Maybe have to modify the mounting points a little bit, but this bumper isn't really that pretty anyway, so we'll make it work. And just like that, this thing is a running and driving vehicle again. It's been way over a year since this thing burnt down, and this is the first time it's back on the road again. There's a few little things to do to it just to finish it up and get it roadworthy. I need a license plate bracket, license plate light, stuff like that. This motor is freshly rebuilt. I want to break it in. I need to make sure it's running good and just dialed in right. Just make sure that thing is not going to break down on me. Obviously, this thing is not even close to being done. This whole interior still needs a lot of love. I want to put some carpet in here along with some sound deadening because it is a loud ride. I want to figure out something cool and unique to do in the interior for the door panels and the headliner. Something to kind of match the vibe I'm going for. This is a patina vehicle, I would say, so it doesn't really have to be too perfect, but I want it to look good and match. Also on the outside, there's just a little bit left I want to do and just button up to make sure it looks good. I have a few ideas going on in my head, and I don't really want to spoil it, so you will see that in the next episode. You may also be wondering about this green motor. What am I going to do with that? Well, I actually bought some parts to rebuild it. Since I already know how to rebuild a motor, I'm going to go ahead and rebuild this one. After it's rebuilt, I'm going to either keep it for a backup motor, or I'm going to sell it, and that's going to fund the rest of the project. Still in the process of putting that motor back together and getting it running right. Also in the process of collecting parts for the interior and the exterior of the bug. Just get it ready to get it finished up. If you have an Instagram, you can check me out there. I post a lot of behind the scenes and what's coming up in future episodes. You can check me out there if you want to. And there's one more thing I need to install in this bug before I can start driving it again. And that is a fire extinguisher. Let's go ahead and get this installed in a good place. I'm thinking about right there maybe. Or maybe right here. I don't know. We'll figure that out in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.